his work focuses on race, racism, identity, and immigration. And earlier this year, in February, he was one of the authors involved in Books for Gaza. Basically, they offered limited signed copies around the world, and they raised money for the Ghassan Abu Sitta Children's Fund. So please welcome Nikesh Shukla.
Hiya. Last week or so, the incredible writer Arundhati Roy was threatened with arrest for comments she made about the apartheid in Kashmir, and she has always been an incredible writer about global movement and has written extensively about Palestine. And so I thought I would read a short extract from a statement she made at the press club in New Delhi in March this year. So this is Arundhati Roy's words. The richest, most powerful countries in the Western world, those who believe themselves to be the keepers of the flame of the modern world's commitment to democracy and human rights, are openly financing and applauding Israel's genocide in Gaza. The Gaza Strip has been turned into a concentration camp. Those who have not already been killed are being starved to death. Almost the entire population of Gaza has been displaced. Their homes, hospitals, universities, museums, infrastructure of every kind has been reduced to rubble. Their children have been murdered. Their past has been vaporized. Their future is hard to see. Even though the highest court in the world believes that almost every indicator seems to meet the legal definition of genocide, IDF soldiers continue to put out their mocking victory videos, celebrating what almost look like fiendish rituals. They believe that there is no power in the world that will hold them to account, but they are wrong. They and their children's children will be haunted by what they have done. They will have to live with the loathing and the abhorrence the world feels for them. And hopefully one day everyone, on all sides of this conflict, who has committed war crimes will be tried and punished for them, keeping in mind that there is no equivalence between crimes committed while resisting apartheid and occupation and crimes committed while enforcing them. It is well known that the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is an intimate friend of Benjamin Netanyahu, and there is no doubt where his sympathies lie. India is no longer a friend of Palestine. When the bombings began, thousands of Modi supporters put up the Israeli flag as their DP on social media. They helped spread the vilest disinformation on behalf of Israel and the IDF. Even though the Indian government has now stepped back into a more neutral position, their foreign policy triumph is that we manage to be on all sides all at once. We can be pro as well as anti-genocide. The government has clearly indicated it will act decisively against any pro-Palestinian protesters. And now, while the US exports what it has in abundant surplus, weapons and money to aid Israel's genocide, India too is exporting what our country has in abundant surplus, the unemployed poor, to replace the Palestinian workers who will no longer be given work permits to enter Israel. I'm guessing there'll be no Muslims among the new recruits. People who were desperate enough to risk their lives in a war zone. People desperate enough to tolerate overt Israeli racism against Indians. You can see it expressed on social media if you care to look. US money and Indian poverty combined to oil Israel's genocidal war machine. What a terrible, unthinkable shame. The Palestinians, facing down the most powerful countries in the world, left virtually alone even by their allies, have suffered immeasurably. But they have won this war. They, their journalists, their doctors, their rescue teams, their poets, academics, spokespeople, and even their children have conducted themselves with a courage, a dignity that has inspired the rest of the world. The new generation in the Western world, particularly the new generation of young Jewish people in the US, have seen through the brainwashing and propaganda and recognized apartheid and genocide for what it is. The governments of the most powerful countries in the Western world have lost their dignity and any respect they may have had yet again. But the millions of protesters on the streets of Europe and the US are the hope for the future of the world. Thanks.